You can't possibly make a good PG-13 horror movie, right? The movie is The Possession, and it follows a girl who, get this, is possessed, and how her father deals with that, and how the family comes together to combat this evil that has come into their daughter. This is incredibly similar to a movie that came out a while ago called The Exorcism of Emily Rose, except it's not quite as good as that movie is. And a lot of that has to do with the main difference between the two, which is The Exorcism of Emily Rose took itself very seriously, wanted to be in a very real world to tell that true story. This is also based on a true story, but it's very over the top visually, and you can tell this wanted to be more of a scary horror movie than to tell a true story of what happened to a family. So there's that difference, and because of that, I think the other movie is better than this. That's not to say this is an awful movie. Actually, I don't really enjoy scary movies. It's my least favorite movie genre. I'm not a big fan of the scare. I like suspense. I love Alfred Hitchcock, so I love suspense, but I just don't like kind of those blatant, gratuitous scares and the gratuitous violence. Now, there is none of the latter. It's PG-13. There's not a lot of blood or gore or violence in this movie, but there are a lot of scares, and they're actually pulled off quite well, especially considering a PG-13 movie. There are some visuals, some very haunting visuals in this movie. But is it well done? Yeah, it kind of is. The acting in this movie was much better than I expected it to be. I really bought into the relationships, especially between the father and the daughter, which is the main relationship that the movie hinges upon. And because that worked, because I bought into who they were, and also Kyra Sedgwick, I think, is the wife, the divorced wife, does a really great job, and so that relationship I was invested in. Because all of that works, I found myself actually invested in this movie. Despite some of the ridiculous visuals and some of those scares, I found myself wanting to know what was going to happen and wishing and hoping the best for them. The other thing I actually kind of enjoyed about this movie was the message. There's a real interesting message in this movie about self-sacrifice and what happens when a dad loves his daughter and is willing to sacrifice everything for her. It was pretty meaningful and deep, and I kind of liked that. I really left this movie kind of befuddled by how much I enjoyed it. Did I love it? No. It's not one of my favorites of the year or anything. I just think because it was such a pleasant surprise, I came away with some good feelings, and maybe you will too.